Travel channel. Don't you love that music? Like, that music just gets me hyped every single time. I just love it. Anyway, to get on topic, I just wanted to talk to you today about how to make money abroad while you travel, basically. So I was talking to one of my students the other day. I have a course called Travelpreneur Academy where I teach people how to basically go from A to Z in full-time travel or becoming an expat. So I do these phone consultations with my students, and I was talking to one, and it really it really struck a chord with me. And I was like, I really have to share with people how I make travel on the go. Okay? Did I say travel? How I make money on the go while I'm traveling. All right. So here's what it is. So let me just tell you about my journey. I'm a storyteller, so I like to tell you the story of what happened, all that good stuff. So what happened was, everyone knows I moved to Colombia when I first started traveling, and I lived there for about a year. When I first arrived, a problem I was having is finding a good Airbnb. I mean, all the fly modern ones were always taken. So in my mind, I was like, ding, ding, like, how about you start an Airbnb? So now lots of people think like, oh, you have to have tons of money because you have to buy, a house or a condo so you can convert it into Airbnb units to rent. No, not this one, okay? What I did was, number one, I had saved a lot of money, but I didn't want to run through it, purchasing a building or something like that. But I was like, what's a way I can make money right now doing Airbnb? So what I did was I rented apartment unit. The first one I rented was a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. The second one I rented was a 4-bedroom, and it also had 3 bathrooms. So here's the thing. So the thing I was doing when I first moved, I wasn't like renting an entire space. I was renting a room. So I was like, when I was at an Airbnb, I did the math. I was like, how much is dude making? Okay, let me do that. So I rented a unit. So the first one that I redecorated both of them. So you have to have some money to get started with, because you have to buy furniture, you have to pay deposit, rental fees, those things up front. Turn on the electricity, internet, those things. You have to get the best internet if you plan to cater to expats, which is the best route to me because they're paying more than Colombians, who are staying local. So what I did was, I decked it out. Just like some of those modern apartments I saw I wanted to rent on Airbnb that were always booked, I did the same thing. So it was fly. So what I did, so for the 4-bedroom, I rented each room. Okay? Now, mind you, the rent on that unit was $400 a month. Yes? So for each room, I rented out for $30 a night. Do the math. So that's about $120 a night, which equals, I'm not that great at math, so I'm going to put up my calculator. So $120 a night times 7, that's $840 a week times 4, that's $3,360 a month. Now, how much did you increase your profit from that $400, rental investment? Because that's what you're paying per month. The initial investment, you're paying, several $1,000s. Like, it took a lot of money to make it pop, like those Airbnb apartments that you want so bad, when you're looking to rent. So I probably spent about $6,000 doing the decor and renovations and stuff like that, putting locks on the doors, buying those safes so people can put their valuables in, things like that. So it costs about $6,000. But you're making $3,360 a month. Now, not to mention, because I always also rented out the entire place. So if you wanted to rent the entire place, it was $200 a night. So if I'm doing that, 200 times 7, that's $1,400 for a week, times 4, that's $5,600 a month. Again, the rent is $400 a month, plus utilities, which were under $200. So it's about, $600 a month. But when you're bringing in $5,600, it depends on the month. If someone's renting the whole place for the month, or, for a couple of weeks, one person has a couple of weeks, then another has another couple of weeks. That's a lot of money. It adds up. Even if you're just doing both room rentals plus long-term rentals. I'm sorry, the entire place rentals. Like, you're making money. Like, trust me. So I also did it. I had rented out a place, and because I had started traveling, it was a 2-bedroom. So I rented that place out. The rent on that unit was $260. So for each room to rent for the month, I only did monthly because it was my personal place. I was just traveling, so I didn't want a lot of people in and out. So I rented that for $450 per month per room. Do the math, okay? So that's $900 per month, and my rent is $260. Okay, and I redecorated that one too, but it was for myself, so I'm not going to really add that into the overhead. But if I did, the cost was about $2,000 or something like that. And I really decked the place out. It's beautiful mirrors everywhere, beautiful artwork, everything. So that was the first thing that I did to make money. So after that, something that I'm still doing now, actually, I started a concierge company, because what I noticed was there were people coming into town all the time. And Colombia is safer, but it can be unsafe if you handle yourself in the wrong way, So I had some friends coming in town, and I was like, hey, let me plan your trip. I own a concierge business. Okay, I didn't, but I was like, I want to plan this trip. So I'm telling them this. I charged them very little initially to plan this trip, but I planned the trip. They had an amazing time. They were bragging about it, told all their friends. The next thing you know, I really did have a concierge business. So right now I own a global travel concierge business, and we cover 10 countries around the globe. So it's really amazing. And all that, by the way, has been word of mouth. Only since we've been quarantined have I even made a Facebook page for that business. And I'm telling you, it's been constant business from 4 years ago, just by word of mouth. So the thing is, if you do a good job, people will come, especially in Colombia. And Colombia was really hot before the quarantine. So, those are different things that I did because, number one, I was passionate about it. I love, looking for Airbnbs. I love finding a great place for cheap, that's modern, that I can post on the net, because you guys know I'm also a blogger, that I can post online and stuff like that. So I wanted to bring that to other people. And something else is that I was passionate about helping other people to travel safe. So that's another business I started just from my passion of travel. So what I suggest to you is find something you're passionate about. Yes, there are other avenues to make money. So what I had also done before I found my true passion and an entrepreneurial career that, or I call travelpreneurial, travelpreneurial career, that I could do something I loved, and again, not be working for someone else. So what I did before I started out being a teacher online. I was fired 4 times, 4 different companies. I was fired, yes. And that's mainly because, again, you're an employee. I left the country not to be an employee. I left the country to find my freedom, to be in my happy place. I didn't go to work for somebody. So when I was talking to one of my students the other day, she was like, oh, I'm trying to think of what job I can do. And I was like, no, girl, that is not the goal, The problem is that people feel like they believe that I can only be successful if I work a job. I can only see money every week of my life if I work for someone else. That's so not true. That's so not true. So here I want to break the myth of that being the only way to make money abroad. It's not. You don't have to have a remote job. You don't have to clock in for anybody. I did. I got fired. I also had a sales job. I got fired from that one too. But I'm thankful that those things happen, because they put me in this position to become a travelpreneur and to be able to share this with you. So what I want you to know today is you can do anything, especially when you're in other countries. When you're in the States, it's different. You're in Europe, it's different, because they've already invented everything. You have to be uber creative to think of something outside of the box that hasn't been created in, these Western countries. But when you travel to developing countries, you can take something you already know how to do, bring it to where you are. No sense in reinventing the wheel. It's already been invented. Just bring it with you. Bring the expertise with you. Bring the knowledge with you. No matter what career you do, if you love it, bring that with you. Bring those talents with you. And you can do that abroad. And that's really my recommendation, to become a travelpreneur. And that's why I'm teaching the course, Travelpreneur Academy, because I want you guys applies to be entrepreneurs too. You can make so much money. Like there's so many other things I can tell you about that, can help you make money while you're abroad. Of course, there are the obvious things. You can get a remote job. There are tons of remote jobs online. If you actually look on sites like Indeed.com or careerbuilder.com, those things, you can actually type in remote for location and it will give you jobs that are completely remote. So you have to just, when you're going through those jobs, just be careful, making sure that you can be remote from anywhere. Because some of those jobs you have to be remote in this particular city or that place. But just make sure those jobs are, you can be anywhere, like really remote. And, there's of course teaching English. If you want to teach English, abroad, which is how I started because I wanted that check to be rolling in. I wanted to have that confidence before I left. So all these things I started doing before I left home. But if you want those types of things, I have some great teaching opportunities that I've done. I got fired from, but I did those. But, I can give you those and they pay a lot of money. I mean, one month working for this one particular company, I made about $4,000 for that month. Now, I was working around the clock, but I was bored anyway. I wasn't really doing anything. But I made about $4,000 that month just teaching online. So you can make a lot of money, teaching online and, doing some of the other remote jobs. If you have an engineering degree, if you can do graphics, if you can edit videos, there's so many things you can do online. Even for me, I'm, a lawyer by trade. So I was drafting contracts for people, like all these things. So there's so many ways to make money online. Like, don't think, I have a certain background, I only have certain career experience. Don't think that because of those things you're locked out. No, you can do anything online. And if you can't, you can also do it locally. Especially if you're a nurse, a doctor, those things, all those careers travel. So don't think they aren't traveling careers. So I just wanted to give you that bit of information. If you have any questions, please leave a note in the comments. Again, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in with me today. And I will see you next week. Now let's get back to that music because it's so